All right, hey, what's going on, guys? It's Chris with Life 180, and today I am doing a presentation. You can see on my vibe board back here. I am doing an investment opportunity presentation. I've been getting a lot of feedback, a lot of questions. A lot of you know that I am in the process this week. After Christmas, we're finishing putting the house together. We're actually going to be renting our house, and we're going to be relocating to the Caribbean. We're going down to the Dominican Republic because of the fact that my wife and I actually launched a private equity fund. If you don't know my wife, Hannah and I are actually co-GPs on a private equity fund. We launched a 506, a Reg D 506 3C1 fund that is designed to raise money, take on limited partners, be able to invest in a property, in a project, in a business that we're bringing and we're getting involved with in the Dominican Republic. And that's what I'm going to be doing today on this video, is sharing that opportunity with you. And obviously I'm really interested as well as taking questions, taking comments, anything that we do there. But just so you know, I put this presentation together to be more for people who don't know who I am. I know a lot of you know who I am, but there's a section in here that's going to go through what we're doing there. If you're watching this on Instagram, just know that this video is not optimized for Instagram. So if you're watching this on Instagram, go check out the video on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/life180, LIFE 180. That is my YouTube channel. And we will go from there. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get to the presentation. Let's talk about this investment opportunity, talk about what we have going on. So ultimately, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but we launched the Cashflow Hacking Fund, obviously inspired by my cashflow hacking concept, which is evolving from just being having a use case of utilizing whole life insurance as a storage tank for your capital to invest in real estate. We're evolving that out and just talking about how can we help people create more cash flow. I really feel like I've been called to do this. A lot of people think we're kind of crazy for doing it, but you know what? To the spoils go the people that are willing to take the risks. And I think by the time you get through the end of this, you'll realize we've done a lot of due diligence, and we've basically taken a lot of the risks off of the table based on how we're going about doing this. And so we've partnered ultimately, and what I'm going to go through in this is we've partnered with local experts in the Samana, Dominican Republic region. If you don't know about the Dominican Republic much, the Samana region is just a magical place on the island. It's very jungle focused, very eco focused. It's very similar to kind of what I would think of like a Bali, right? Where it's jungle, eco, thatched roofs, natural woods, that kind of deal. And it's pretty amazing. And so what we're doing here is we're actually in the process of raising about $2.8 million. And that $2.8 million is raised in the form of limited partners for a Reg D 506 3C1 fund, open to accredited investors only. I think that's really important to understand. If you don't know what an accredited investor is, it doesn't mean you are not one. I've actually had several people come to me thinking that they're not going to be accredited, and it turns out that they are. So basically, to be an accredited investor, you have to have a net worth of $1 million or more outside of the equity in your primary residence, or you have to earn $200,000 a year of income or more in the past 2 years, and with the expectation that you're going to earn $200,000 in the coming year. So that is important. So if you don't know who I am, if you happen to be stumbling on this, my name is Chris Kirkpatrick. I'm the founder and CEO of the Cashflow Hacking Fund. I'm also the founder and CEO of this channel and a big life insurance agency. A lot of people kind of consider me a financial security expert. I've wrote a book called Cashflow Hacking that, once again, inspired the name of this fund. I run an industry-leading YouTube channel that there's a chance you're watching this on right now. And I am the former director of business development for a Fortune 1000 company, life insurance company. I've got a pretty vast experience of marketing, a lot of experience training people on the sales world. My wife and I have been in the real estate market for a long time, just doing investments and kind of going down that path, and creating passive income and coaching people. I've helped hundreds of people go through that process and learn how to create more passive income through the process of investing in cash flow real estate. Now, this is my wife. She's been a real estate investor for 15 plus years now. She is a licensed real estate agent in Arizona, which has nothing to do with this project, but we've done projects in Arizona, flips, just other types of investments, done some buy and hold stuff. But, ultimately, this is our first foray into the world of international investing. But if you stick with me, I promise you, I think it'll make sense. Now, this guy, Tomas Avogadro, he's a big player down in this area. He's developed and operates a bunch of hotels down there. He owns nearly 50% of the developable land in the area, and he actually worked with the government down in the Dominican to create a titling system. They always say when you do a project internationally that you need to have a partner. You need to have somebody local that has all the contacts that can help make sure that nothing gets held up, because at the end of the day, things in international waters do not work the way that they work in the United States. I was introduced to this guy, Austin. He's going to be our developer on this project, because we are buying a hotel, and you'll see it, and we're turning it into a full retreat center. We're adding on 12 villas, and we're building out the infrastructure. We're going to be upgrading the property and all this stuff. Austin is an amazing guy. He's from Idaho. He's been living down in the area where we're going down to build El Valle on the Samana Peninsula in the Dominican Republic. And he's got a lot of background and experience in the marketing side and building the largest eco resort down there, the most successful eco resort down there, which has been named as one of the world's top 10 eco resorts. But he's also now become a big builder. I met him through investing in building another project down there. And so our relationship has just evolved. And between the combination of Tomas and Austin, those are our two guys on the ground that have enabled us to kind of get to this point. Now, my wife and I are moving down there with our 3 kids literally in 10 days at this point in time. And we are going to be going down there, and it's I think it's going to be an amazing opportunity. Now, why the Dominican Republic? A lot of people have been asking me, Chris, why did you choose the Dominican Republic? We actually were looking at Costa Rica before, but when you look at the Dominican Republic, it's actually kind of mind-blowing how powerful of an opportunity it is, and how much more evolved the economy is in the Dominican Republic than most people realize. So the first things first is it's the largest economy in the Caribbean and Central America. That includes Costa Rica. A lot of people love Costa Rica. I like to equate and kind of say that the Dominican Republic is where Costa Rica was about 15 to 20 years ago. So there's a lot of upside potential. It hasn't been as built out, and it's already one of the largest, it's the #1 largest economy in the Caribbean and Central America combined. And so it's pretty powerful. It's a #1 tourist destination in the Caribbean for non-resident tourist arrivals. So there's a lot of people coming in and out. They get over 10 million tourists a year. #1 destination with a top amount of quality tourist products and experiences. It's a huge golf destination for all you people who love golf. It's huge. It's shown the most post-pandemic tourism growth of any nation in the Americas. And so the Dominican Republic is totally on the upside right now. And if you look at this is a really powerful map. I think I always kind of equate to this and say the thing that excites me most about this opportunity is the fact that we're bringing Bali to the Western Hemisphere. Because when you see this place and you get a vibe for it, you're gonna be like, wow, this is pretty special stuff. And so the fact that you can fly to El Valle right here and get there within a 4.5-hour flight of 80% of the people that live in Canada and the United States, that's a pretty powerful thing. Now, when you get to the island, obviously this is the Dominican Republic. They share the island with Haiti, so Haiti would be right off to the left side of the screen over here. We got it cut off. But there are right now 3 major airports: Santiago, Santo Domingo, and Punta Cana. Most people have heard of Punta Cana and Santo Domingo, the capital city. Punta Cana is like all-inclusive resort world. You fly into Santo Domingo, it's about a 2.5-hour drive across the island to get there, but that's no problem. If we zoom in, looking at this peninsula, the reason we do this is because if we think about it and we go back to this screen, right now there's about 9 million residents in the Dominican Republic, and they get about 10 million tourists a year. So their economy is tourism. Punta Cana and Santo Domingo right now get about 90% of the tourism visits. The government is wanting to diversify. The government is saying, you know what, we need If tourism is the lifeblood of our economy, which it is, we need to diversify and expand and start bringing in more tourism. They're doubling down on it. And so this peninsula up here, you can see where we are. That is where they're doubling down. So we're zooming in here. We're looking at this peninsula. The government is investing $100 million into roads and infrastructure. They're going to be putting a new road. If you look at this red line here, that is a new road that's going to basically be a coastal highway system. That coastal highway right now, if you go to where our hotel location is right here, which is about several hundred meters right off the beach, you're looking at it through the lens of, we're basically on this beat up, rundown road right now, which in the next 3 to 5 years is going to be the main coastal highway. And so when we talk about building in the path of progress and investing in the path of progress so you can really get massive multiple effects as far as the uptick and the appreciation of the properties, that's huge. Well, how are they doing this? What else is included? You can see over here, the El Cate Airport already exists. It's an international airport already. American Airlines already has a couple flights coming in every single week from the United States and Canada. That airport is getting expanded. Everything is getting expanded when it comes to that airport. They're building out more terminals. They're doing all these things. More flights are going to continually increase there, which is great. On top of that, you can see the cruise ship right here. They are building a cruise ship port that is going to be completed. It's scheduled to be complete, and they've already got a lot of progress on it in 2024. It's really pretty amazing. This cruise ship port right there is about 20 minutes away from our hotel. And so when you look at the opportunity of what's happening in this peninsula, and this peninsula is pretty much what local people on the island call as the jewel of the island. It's the government has doubled down and has seen the opportunity. This right here, Rio Limon, that is the tallest waterfall in the Caribbean. That's about a 25-minute drive away from the hotel as well, and it'll be even closer once this highway is completed. It is one of the top tourism destinations in the Caribbean, which is pretty amazing, right? So we got this really unique place, really unique spot on the island that is creating what I just consider paradise. And you can see here, this is the image. This is the hotel. It gives you the visualization of the amount of jungle canopy that we actually are living in, right? That's what we're turning into a hotel and retreat center now. Right now, currently, what we're buying is a hotel that has 10 rooms, 5 single rooms with a king bed. And you can see here that it's very eco-focused, and it's very earthy. And it's beautiful to me. I love it. And there are also 5 loft rooms that have a king bed and 2 twin beds. Now, you can see the king bed up top, beautiful, super comfortable, great views over there. And the twin beds, that if you want to bring your kids with you, or if you have a family or retreat and people want to share a room, it's great to go as a couple. You can push 2 twin beds together and make it work. This is definitely a place for adventure-driven, focused people. And we do a lot of yoga retreats, breath workshops, other traditional medicine retreats. And it's more for a place of healing than anything else. This kind of gives you an idea about the jungle lobby and the bar. Right now, this roof is actually being redone. I'm going to share some videos on Instagram about that because it's really exciting. But it's just a super tranquil place. We got this bar right here. Good place to lounge. You're in the jungle. It's like when it's raining in the rainforest. It's pretty magical to listen to the rain and sit there and in the tranquilness. And sometimes they clear this out. We do yoga retreats in there when they need the covering. All open air inspired kitchen. This kind of gives you the vibe of the picture on the left, but it really is it's pretty special. So this is our pool. It gives you the idea, kind of gives you a little perception of how the place is built. So we're built into the side of a cliff. This pool is about 25 meters high, overlooking the canopy. So you can see we're above the tree line with an infinity pool overlooking the ocean. You can see we're about 300 meters off the ocean. Gives you an insight as to kind of what is, just the peace and the atmosphere. And you can't see it, but behind the camera is actually kind of like an event area with a covered area that you could do seminars and you could do yoga retreats. You could do all sorts of different things, and it's right behind there. This is our beach that when you saw the ocean, this is what you're looking to do, about 300 meters away from the hotel. It's about a couple minute walk. You can get down there, and it's it's special, right? Like just getting down there to see it. And so one of the things that we're doing for investors on here is that we are offering investor perks for people that invest $100,000 or more into the fund. It's just, it's not a make it or break it, but it is a nice little perk if somebody's looking to invest and they're going to do it anyway. It's something to contemplate and consider as an extra benefit. One of the things that I think is important is to kind of share the process, because I would never ask anybody to do anything we're not doing. My wife and I kind of went through a process and we were like, okay, why are we going to do this? Why would we invest in the Dominican Republic? Does it make sense for us? What's the upside? You always hear me say on the channel, what's the upside? What's the downside? Can I live with the downside? Obviously, when you hear international investing, you think of downside. And I'm not going to say there's no risk, because obviously there are certain things, there are certain risks. There are hurricanes or things like that when you deal with investing in the Caribbean. But we've done things to mitigate those risks, and I'll get into that here as we go. But ultimately, why the DR? Because these are the big three reasons that we came up with that really convinced us. Is number one, there are no restrictions. There are no restrictions on U.S. residents owning real property or businesses in the Dominican Republic. If you've ever looked at investing in Mexico or any place like that, you realize that this is actually a huge bonus. There's $1 billion in foreign investment every single year. According to the Central Bank of the Dominican Republic, the DR has received 35% of Central American and Caribbean foreign tourism investment dollars. It's over $1 billion in 2022 alone. That is a huge deal. And the growing tourism, I spoke to this before, 90% of tourism in the DR is in Punta Cana and Santo Domingo, and the government is committed to the Samana Peninsula, where we're doing this as the next focus of tourism. So we're able to buy low right now, ride the wave high as the government is going through that $100 million of investment in infrastructure, right? Increasing it. Now, one of the things that led my wife and I there is we were looking at stuff, and we kind of we're looking around the United States. And when we look at the US market and we look at the potential, honestly, to me, these numbers are actually better than what I think is going to happen in the near future. And so when we look at these numbers and we go, okay, I don't see that happening. But the reality is, what we're looking at here on the Cashflow Hacking Fund, and what we're going to be able to do with this investment specifically in this property, what our projections are based on an 80% occupancy rate, which is about the national average for occupancy rates for hotels of this style across the board. And I think our occupancy rates, we have the potential to get even better than that. We're looking at cash on cash returns of 30% plus, and we're looking at a 7 to 10 year appreciation of 300% plus. Right. And that's because of the growth and the investment that the government is putting into that. So you can see, if you were to invest, $200,000 in the United States, you're looking at about $440,000 return over the next 7 years. In commercial real estate, it'd be about $425,000. And what we're projecting based on these expectations is over $1 million. So about $1,020,000. Once again, there are variables, whatever, but I'm looking at this, and I think you'll see we're being fairly conservative in our projections and these numbers. And honestly, I scaled the projections back because what they actually, I think, are going to come in looking like, the numbers would be so unbelievable that we had to be like, all right, let's just scale it back and get the numbers dialed in, so it's actually something people will believe in, because it's just pretty amazing. So this is our process. This is kind of where we are. Close of funds and completion for the purchase of the hotel and the retreat center. So what we're doing is we're doing this in a couple phases. We're raising money right now. The close of funds for the phase one here is January 15th of 2024. My wife and I are moving down there with our family here on December 31st. We're going to get there. We're going to get everything in order. We're closing funds. We got to have the money in January 15th, because we then got to ship it down and complete the purchase of the hotel by February 1st. January, we're going to start taking operational control. We're going to run it. The 10 rooms we're moving down there, we're going to manage it. We're going to start cash flowing it. It is high season down there right now, so we're not going to start breaking ground and building more villas yet. We're going to cash flow it. We're going to take that time from February to May, and we're going to also do the prep. We're going to grounds built out. We're going to get everything kind of measured out, get the supply chain in order, get all the things we need for the development of the villas and the build out and the expansion and the spa and the fitness center. All get that all in the works and get it moving. That way, when we do break ground, we can move fast and there's no delays because at the end of the day, one of the challenges with the island is everything moves at island time, and there are always things that come up. So you got to come up with plans to be able to build that in. And that's what we're, one of the ways we're getting ahead of it is just kind of getting ahead of the supply chain so nothing gets held up. We're going to break ground on the villas and improvements to the hotel block and begin fitness center construction in June. And by January 25, we're going to have completion of the 12 villas in the fitness center to be ready for high season next year, which I am really, really excited about. Some of the investor highlights, we're going to have kind of two offerings, if you will. I call them shares here, but they're not really shares. They're really two separate offerings. And I'm going to go through what those look like, right? So offering number one starts at a $50,000 minimum. What we're looking at for 2024 is about a 6% expected return. And then 2025 through 2032, we're looking at a 12% annual rate of return. So the 7-year appreciation expectations, we're looking at 150,000. So all in all, $50,000 investment in 7 years is we're expecting a total return of about $244,065 for these expectations. And this is expecting a 70% occupancy rate. It's one of the things I'm saying, we even lowered the occupancy rate expectations for this. Once again, results are not guaranteed. We do have, if you're interested at the end of this, you can go to cashflowhacking.com. There's a video there, but you can get access to the portal. You can read the PPM. None of these results are guaranteed. I do want to, let you know that obviously, but all the disclaimers and the risks and all the details are in the PPM that you can get in the back portal. But this is the opportunity that if you have the capital, if you're a fund manager, if you're an asset manager and you're licensed, you can actually raise money to this and create an opportunity for your investors. Or if you just have enough money for yourself to go out and invest in it, the opportunity is there. So $200,000 minimum on this. But here's the deal. On top of getting everything you get in the first offering, you're going to get the 6% returns, but you're also going to get ownership shares basically on the villa rentals. So basically all the 12 villas that we're doing are going to create a pool of revenue. And out of all the revenue that's created from those villas, 60% of that money is going to go in a pool that is split with these. Now, we only have 12 of these shares available, 12 max, assuming everybody just did 200,000 a piece, 12 of these max available for people because we only have 12 villas that are getting built in this first phase. Now we're going to build more in phase 2, but we only have 12 in this first phase. So we're looking at, on average, a total annual return of about 28% on this. So if you think about that, a $200,000 investment today, or by January 15th, over a 7-year period would do a total return of $846,000 based on our assumptions and expectations of the project, which is, I don't know about you, but if you've ever looked into the United States right now, there's nothing in the United States that can even come close to touching this. So this gives you an idea. This is kind of a mood board and inspiration of what the villas are going to look like. They are going to be built into the cliffside. And so there's going to be room underneath with like a plunge pool and all these things going on, sitting area, common area. And it's a very open air minded floor to ceiling glass concept place. But this kind of shows you that we're expecting a nightly rental rate of $250, estimated occupancy at 70%. We're selling them, for $200,000. The value of these things, if we just sold them, is $200,000 alone. So that's with the investment of $200,000. You're participating in in the revenue of the $63,000 that's generated annual on average for each unit. And when you look at that, that's where this 19% annual return is going to come from for the people that invest in that process. I don't know of another place that you can invest in, whether it's a private equity fund or it's real estate in the United States or anything of that nature, that has the potential to kick out with the predictability, I should say, that this property has to kick out. So one of the reasons to invest, I think, in the Cashflow Hacking Fund right here is there's inflated prices, low cash flow, and high interest rates in the United States. We're doing all of this with no debt. Like, I think that's key, because if you watch the channel, you know that I'm huge right now on the fact that I am concerned about the direction of the US economy, right? And so if you have debt in a downward cycle, then there's risk injected. What I know to be true about what we're doing is that because of the fact that we have no debt, even in a down cycle, based on the projections, it doesn't take a lot of money because labor down there is so cheap and staffing is so cheap that we can operate this hotel for under $4,000 a month. Like if you really, and we can operate at a high level for under $4,000 a month. So when you look at that, we're like, holy cow, like the opportunity and the downside protection is so huge, right? So we have international diversification with US oversight. This is a Regulation D 506 3C1 fund. When you invest in the fund then owns the entity that operates the hotel, right, and the retreat center. And so you get all the protection, all the oversight. You can use qualified money. You can do all these things and do that and not have to deal with the risk of international exposure in the way that most people have to deal with. I remember the first time we sent money down there and our money got hung up for over 40 days trying to send money down to invest in and build a couple villas that we were building. It is massively stressful when you are sending money overseas and it gets hung up. We've got all of that set up now. We've worked through a lot of the kinks. We've got the relationships, we've got the banking, we've got all that set up and the relationships with the developers and all this set up. So we know that we're ahead of the game on that. And so the fact that you can get that international diversification with the US oversight is huge. It gives you access to the hottest tourism market in the Caribbean and Central America. We're investing in the path of progress, as I've said. We have higher projected cash flow with US because of the fact that we have US rental prices, European rental prices with the developing nation development costs. So it's cheaper to build. And, we have lifestyle benefits. And so just to kind of give you a little insight as to, what this, some of the things around, this is the Salto del Limon waterfall that I was talking about, the highest waterfall in the Caribbean. Super powerful stuff. Like this is such a fun hike. I cannot even explain. My wife and I took a hike. Hannah and I took a hike and we went here. There are people that do horseback rides to go here. It's a great excursion place for people to go. Transportation can be provided. You can just go there on your own. Super easy trip from the hotel. It's just awesome. This is our beach. One of the cool parts about this, I think one of the special parts about this beach, you can see this cliff here, but this river going along the cliffside, that's a freshwater river. And so this river runs right into the ocean. And so here you have certain times of the year, you can even surf this, and you have freshwater beach here that you can bring little kids to, and you have a surfable beach right here, all sharing one common area. There's also a place down on the other side of the beach that I didn't show in this. It's like a cave system with a freshwater spring going into it. It's honestly, it's one of the most magical beaches I've ever seen, and I've been to a lot of them around the world. So the Los Hayeses National Park, largest national park. My wife and I did a sailboat tour here. We went and hung out with the dolphins and did all sorts of things. That was a lot of fun. Also on this is, the fact the humpback whales from New England always come down just off the coast of Cape Cod, come down and they have their babies down in this area too. So whale watching is a big deal. Dominican Republic and the North Shore on the Samana Peninsula specifically is one of the top kite surfing places in the world. It's a place of adventure with mountain biking and hiking, scuba diving, 20 world-class beaches within 45 minutes of our hotel. Like I said, the humpback whale, sailing, deep sea fishing, all these different things. And that kind of gives you a little insight as to what's going on now. Anybody that wants to reach out, my information is here. You can call me. You can go to cashflowhacking.com. That's probably the easiest way to go because all of our information is there. You can get a hold of us. I don't know. I've been having a lot of people ask me about what's going on with this. And they've been asking me like, hey, Chris, I just want to know, like, you've been talking a lot about going to the Dominican Republic. You've been talking a lot about the fund, but you haven't really gotten into any details. And so I just thought I'd come on here and I would share this so people had a little insight. If you are interested in investing, you can reach out to me directly. You can also just email me, chris@life180.com. Down in the description below the YouTube video, you can go down there, click on the cashflowhacking.com link. That'll bring you to a page that'll give you access to the portal. All of the information that you need regarding the PPM, the deal disclosures, everything else that you will need for that is included in there. And so that's it. If anybody has any questions, I'll give it a second. People feel free to ask questions. I'm really excited about this. Like I said, I'm all in on this. You can't see it. My house is chaos right now. I'm in my studio. My studio is the last thing to be torn down. I'm launching a new studio for the Life 180 studios. I'm going to be running Life 180 from down there. I'm going to be traveling back and forth to the United States for doing my speaking stuff and doing the events and working with my partners in Florida and all that stuff. It's actually, ironically, living in Arizona, it's going to be easier for me to run Life 180 from the Dominican because it's a shorter flight back and forth to Florida to work with my business partners than it is to do from Arizona. So that's kind of cool. But my house is chaos right now because we're selling everything we own. We're going minimalist. My wife and I are committed. I'm even selling my Jeep right now, which is crazy. I never thought I would do that, but we're all in. We're moving our 3 kids down there. We're homeschooling them. And we are going to be operating this place. I'm going to be operating the retreat center with my wife. We've got a guy who used to run a retreat in Colombia that's coming there, and he's going to be working with us and helping us operate and manage and run this place as well. He's going to run sales and do all this other stuff. So we've got a really amazing team of people that are stepping up, that have seen the vision, that we're bringing on a lot of talented people to help drive the success. Many hands, light work kind of deal, and it's the right hands and the right talent, and I think it's really exciting stuff. So, I don't expect a lot of like high-end questions to come in over the chat because a lot of this is personal. So once again, if you have any questions at all, my number is 602-769-4353. Feel free to reach out utilizing that number. You can shoot me a text. That's probably the best way because I don't answer numbers I don't recognize. So shoot me a text first if you want to talk about it. Go to cashflowhackingfund.com. Happy to connect with anybody. But remember, this is for accredited investors only. So you got to have at least a $200,000 year of income for the past 2 years, with the expectation that you're going to have that in the next year as well, or $1 million in net worth outside of the primary, the equity in your primary residence. So hopefully everybody found value in this. If not value, hopefully at least you have clarity on what we're up to now, because I know a lot of people have been asking, what the heck are you up to? And well, this is it. So you can now probably see why I'm so excited. I don't even know where to start, how to explain my excitement level. So we're just getting ready to step into the next adventure. I'm looking forward to having my new studio down there, the new podcast. I'm launching a new Cashflow Hacking podcast where I'm going to be interviewing all sorts of entrepreneurs and real estate investors and all these things, where people are going to be coming down, and we're going to be doing that. So 2024 is going to be a big year for Life 180, for the fund, for the retreat center, for me personally, growth, my family. So I'm really, really excited. And anybody that wants to come down, if you're a subscriber to the channel, if you're a life insurance agent, if you want to come down, you just reach out and I'll hook y'all up with a good deal to come visit, and maybe we can do some content while you're down there. So anyway, that is it for now. Hope you found value in that. Have a blessed, inspirational day. We'll talk soon.